Thanks for tuning into Dirty Teeth. Today I'm going to discuss 7 things you need to be doing before you go on any winter fat bike ride in the snow. Let's go inside. I promise this routine is going to make winter riding enjoyable again. So if you have the tendency to lose motivation when it's cold outside and you wind up lounging on the couch, doom scrolling instead, this is the video for you. And if you force yourself out the door only to cut your ride short because you're miserable and not having any fun, this video is also for you. P.S. You'll notice I'm purposely not discussing clothing choices or layering tips. I'm assuming you've checked your outdoor thermometer and the weather app on your phone and you've got all that stuff dialed in because you've already watched this video. If not, you should watch it right after this one because they go hand in hand. With that said, first things first, make sure your bike is sitting outside in the elements for a good long while. I'd say at least half an hour before heading out on a ride. My fat bike usually lives in the garage, which isn't heated or insulated, so it stays relatively cold. But I still make sure to park it outside well before I'm gonna jump on it. I highly recommend this in winter because bikes and components don't enjoy the contraction and expansion that goes along with quick and extreme temperature swings. And depending on how cold it is outside, your tire pressure can fluctuate pretty drastically, so you never want to set your tire pressure at room temp. More on that in a minute. Sometimes I'll have my bike in the house like I do now because I'm shooting a video or I'm tinkering with it. And maybe you need to keep your bike inside your house for whatever reason. I get it. Don't freak out, just roll it outside and let it sit and acclimate to the lower temps while you get dressed and handle your business inside. If you're driving somewhere to ride, then this isn't important. Just to make sure you've got plenty of air in the tires before leaving the house because they could go flat on your bike rack. Again, I'll touch more on tire inflation later in the video. Okay, after the bike is outside acclimatizing properly, get some water boiling and fill a double-walled thermos of your choice to take with you. Make sure it's rated to keep drinks hot because not all of them are. My go-to is this 32-ounce lightweight Trail Series bottle from Hydro Flask. I like to get a tea bag steeping while I'm getting ready, and I always have a variety to choose from. Lately, I've been opting for a mellow peach honey tea, or you may choose something heartier like a pumpkin spice, and chai or cinnamon are always good calls for cold fatty rides since they warm you from the inside out. You may also enjoy some miso or soup broth, or apple cider, coffee, or hot cocoa. Really, whatever warm drink makes you smile at the thought of it should work just fine. It's a great treat to look forward to, it'll warm your core, and can seriously bring you back to good if you're starting to go south mentally, so don't leave home without it. What can I say? I'm a wimp and I love toasty hands. I never leave home without cracking some chemical hand warmers, and I do this after I start the tea steeping. They warm up quicker if you fire them up at room temp, and why worry about futzing around with them while you're out on the ride? So I'll shake them up and let them get nice and toasty before heading out the door. There's so many ways to use them, and I'm actually putting together a hand warmer tips and tricks video for bike packing, so stay tuned for that. But a couple of my favorite uses is to preemptively toss them into my pogies or put them on my shins at the top of my boots. Or I'll just keep them in my pockets, ready to deploy as necessary. They usually last around 8 to 10 hours, so you don't need to worry about them running out of juice by cracking them early. And if you're only riding for an hour or two and you don't want to keep wasting fresh warmers on every ride, make sure to seal them up in a Ziploc bag after you use them and write on the bag with a Sharpie how long you used them for. They need oxygen to activate, so they will go dormant in the Ziploc, and you can get a few more uses out of them before they die. While the hand warmers are getting up to temp, I like to turn my focus to some self-prep. I don't know about you, but my eyes get irritated easily, and deep winter conditions usually aggravate them even more with the cold, dry air. So I take a second to pop in a couple eye drops ahead of time. This keeps them nice and lubricated so they don't get all irritated and red and bloodshot while I'm riding. I've actually gotten in the habit of doing this year round, especially while bike packing, because it's so easy to get dirt and contamination in your eyes during long hours on the bike. But anyway, eye drops are easy to overlook, but they're always a good call. Whew. Back to biz. I also make sure to slather my face, ears, and lips with sunblock and lip balm. Since I'm lazy, I usually just grab an all-in-one face stick like this one from Duke. What's his name? Duke Cannon. I also use the one from Dermatone, which also works great. Not only will it protect you from sunburn and chapped lips, but the hydrophobic barrier adds a layer of warmth against the wind and protection from frost nip as well. I toss the tube in my pocket just in case I need to reapply while I'm out riding, but it's much more peaceful to do in the warmth of your home, in front of a mirror, than when you're out in the field, so make it part of your pregame routine. Make sure to pack some snacks that you're excited about. Obviously, you'll want to consider foods that won't freeze, or at least will take a while to freeze. I like to put some items in a feed bag or top tube bag for easy access, but I'll also keep stuff that tends to harden up in my pockets close to my body so it stays soft and warm. I also tend to do the chipmunk style, which is to stash food in my cheeks so it thaws out a little before biting down and I won't accidentally break a tooth. No names, but a buddy of mine snapped a cap off on the Iditarod, and that's something that I always keep in the back of my mind. For me, snacks usually consist of nuts and chocolate, or maybe some peanut butter M&Ms, oftentimes crushed up Fritos or other chips, and definitely a few slices of bacon. I also like sesame sticks, yogurt-covered pretzels, sometimes cheese or salami. The menu is always changing, but a mix of salty, fatty, and sugary treats is a great idea. Just like with the warm beverage, whatever makes you smile at the thought of it will be a welcomed treat to look forward to. I also tend to prep stuff ahead of time in Ziploc bags, so I'm not dealing with ripping open prepackaged snacks. This means less time stopped with your hands outside of your pogies, it creates less trash and waste, and it's easier to stay moving while munching when possible. Anywho, once I've got the snack situation handled, I pop in some earbuds. Oftentimes I prefer the quiet of tires crunching on the snow and the solace of my surroundings, but I also like having the option to listen to music or take a phone call if necessary without having to pull it out of my pocket. And nothing is more annoying than dealing with running a cord through your layers and your neck gaiter and headwear and all that while you're out in frigid temps. So trust me, just handle it ahead of time. You might be thinking, why not use wireless earbuds or bone conducting headphones, etc.? I've been hesitant for fat biking because I'm worried about poor battery life and that they might react poorly or get damaged in freezing temps. But I am curious if any of you have experience with them in inclement weather, and if so, please share your feedback and insights down in the comments. Okie dokes, we're almost ready to ride and it's time to set your tire pressure. As much as we'd all love to do this in the comfort and warmth of our home, don't or you'll be sorry later, trust me. Make sure to do it outside in the cold where your bike has been parked and getting acclimated to the weather. Setting proper tire pressure requires some trial and error, and it does get easier with experience. But it's extra critical with fat bikes for both traction and comfort, as well as efficient riding, and you don't want to mess it up. For a quick guideline, if you feel your back tire slipping and sliding, or your front tires getting squirrely on soft snow, let some air out. On the other hand, if your bike is bouncy on firmer snow, and it feels like you're riding in quicksand and you're getting nowhere, you probably want to add some air. With that said, the big factor that many people neglect is the air temperature. As the temps drop, air molecules tend to huddle together and become more condensed. I like to think of them as shivering and gathering near each other to stay warm. As this happens, air takes up less space inside your tires, thus causing tire pressure to drop, and vice versa. When it starts to warm up a bunch, air pressure will increase. I've observed this numerous times anecdotally, taking my bike in and out of the house and riding through big temperature swings as well. I've also seen a couple different studies that say pressure will change somewhere around 1 to 2 psi for every 10 degrees Fahrenheit. This won't be nearly as noticeable with the higher pressure of mountain bike, gravel, or road bike tires especially. But if you were to set your fat tires to 8 psi inside your house, where it's 65 degrees Fahrenheit, and then go for a ride where it's 10 degrees outside, you could easily drop down to 2 or 3 psi pretty quickly and be wondering what gives. This is why it's so important to set your starting pressure in the environment you'll be riding in with your best guess for current snow conditions in mind as well, and then take it from there. All that's left to do is start your Strava. Because if you don't Strava it, it never happened, right? Obviously, I'm kidding, but really, if you use a ride tracking app on your phone, get it started before leaving the comfort of your house or jumping out of your warm car. Again, it's one less annoyance to deal with once you're out in the cold, and it's one less reason to fumble around with your phone that you can accidentally drop in the snow. In closing, I just want to stress the importance of having a repeatable process. The consistency and muscle memory of a good routine will build good habits and boost your confidence in harder riding conditions. And it can very easily make the difference between an enjoyable or a miserable experience. I hope some of these tips resonate with you. I think it actually wound up being something like 8 or 9 things. Anyway, now it's your turn. Please share your best winter riding habits and tips in the comments below. I look forward to hearing from you, and remember to share and subscribe if you're so inclined. And if you've been enjoying our content for a while, I hope you'll consider clicking the join button and becoming a sustaining channel member or joining us on Patreon. I currently offer 55 members only videos with more on the way, and I've got members only giveaways coming down the pipeline, and with a channel as small as mine, it really helps a ton. Other than that, I'll catch you on the next one. So until then, ride bikes, give back, pay it forward. Thanks so much for squeezing Dirty Teeth into your busy schedule. Please help us reach more people and ensure you receive new videos by giving this video a like, subscribing to the channel, and clicking the notification bell. Until next time, ride bikes, give back, pay it forward.